Hello, everybody who is watching the NBA live. It is us, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash, here again to talk about the National Basketball Association and all the things going on within it. So, Matt, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon?
I'm doing good. It's very, very windy outside, and I live like my computer is up against a window, and it sounds like a spooky mansion haunted type deal from like a movie or a video game. So it's honestly a little hard to hear, but I'm gonna power through. I've been thinking about opening the window and seeing if that would like help, but I'm not sure that it would.
Opening the
So
window is just going to blow all your shit everywhere, and your room is just going to be in disarray, and you'll
that's
be
true.
trying to work
That's
through it.
true.
It's very blustery outside.
Can you turn your mic up?
Is he talking to me or you?
That's a good question. Midwest weather is crazy. It sucks. It's
March in the Midwest is always a fun place to be because, like, March, April, it is a total question mark on what the weather is going to be every day. It could be 70, it could be 2, it could be blizzard, it could be windy, it could be literally anything. But speaking of wind, the windfall of the Jazz loss to the Clippers is being discussed in the chat right now, and I do indeed think that that game is probably the biggest story in the NBA right now. Paul George being back and whatnot. So let's get
Did
into
you
that
see
game.
that Donovan Mitchell quote?
The one where he was like, "It's the same, literally the same as last year."
Dude, that
Or
quote was killing me, man. That's such a funny way to put it, but he's right. I
he's
made a
right.
video
That's
about
what
it
I
like
was gonna say.
20 minutes ago on my TikTok account. There is just no way that they run it back again after this year if
That's
they
what
don't do anything.
that's what I've been thinking. It's how many times can you do it? And he's literally openly saying, like, this is the same shit every year. So if they lose, I mean, he's going to put the pieces together. Like, it's going to be the same next year too, unless they get, I don't know what they could get, there, it doesn't seem like anybody is going to go there. They would have to, I don't know what they'd have to
They'd
do.
have to trade for someone. I don't know. They could, I mean, here's their two options in my mind. Number one is they could try to do the whole like we're going to trade the entire future away, like the 4 picks, 3 pick swaps, the whole deal, um, plus whatever else you want to throw in, and try to go get like a second star to put by Mitchell, or trade Donovan Mitchell and just blow it up. I think maybe trade Gobert, but I don't know to who.
Gobert would probably get you less, or trade both, honestly.
Or yeah, just blow
Yeah,
it up
trade both,
is what I
blow it
mean.
up.
And if you're gonna trade Gobert, uh, Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets, that would actually be a good place for him to end up. And I mean, we talked to Rusty Buckets on the podcast like months ago now, and we asked him, like, is this a team contender or a pretender? And we asked him about the Jazz, and I've never heard someone say, "Get the fuck out of here faster faster in my life" than when I brought up the Jazz as a potential contender. Like, just how fast and how obvious it is that this team is the same iteration of the Jazz teams we've seen in the past. And they're like 90% of what the Suns are. That's like what I would say. Like, they've got kind of a similar team build, and I think the way they win is a little bit kind of maybe comparable. And the way that team is built is like a little bit maybe comparable. I guess the perimeter defense is way different, but
That's the thing that kills me. I feel like the role players are also not really as strong. It's like it's a tough comparison. Their defensive game plan is just so brutal when it comes to how much they put on Gobert to do stuff, and then they don't really have like offensively anyone that scares you outside of Mitchell, and you can't say that about the Suns.
Yeah, true. So maybe they're not the Suns. I always thought of them as a team that like moves the ball really well, more than like built around a star. Like, Donovan Mitchell is one of the best shooting guards in the league, obviously, but like they're more built around ball movement and getting everybody involved more than relying on the dominance of one guy is what it seems. But I digress. The thing that they definitely don't have that the Suns do have is the kind of bought inness that the Suns do, and everybody loving each other, and the team like body language and what is coming out of that organization. Obviously, with the Suns, it's pretty clear that the team chemistry is about maxed out. With the
Yeah.
Jazz, it has always been a mess. And there's always been these rumors that they don't like
It's
each other that much. And even Gobert has said it. They like, I wish we were like the Suns down there in Phoenix when everybody bought in. And I wish that was what was happening here, which I think is one of the more damning quotes that's come out of there. And there's been a couple damning quotes that's come out of there. So, like, obviously, this Clippers game isn't the reason why I say this. It's been a long time coming, and it's clear that it's just a frustrated team, and I just don't see how it gets better in Utah. So yeah, I would say, yeah, the 2015 Hawks is not a bad, like they're good, but like let's be real, they're not.
yeah,
They're
it's
not
it's 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 hard to stay bought in when the team hasn't done shit
right for
for
years.
like for a long time and they're not getting any better. The way I look at it, if you're Donovan Mitchell, okay, his team has been really, really good for a long time, like, or pretty good for a long time, right? And it's like, man, you're one big piece away, but you probably have to make an ultra aggressive move if you wanted to help build around Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
Yeah,
And the Jazz don't do it, and they don't do it, and they don't do it for like 3-4 years. So it's like, why aren't you being aggressive? Because it's the right, like, do you not think that Donovan Mitchell is the type of player that you should do that around? And I think that's maybe the way that Mitchell's taking it. Plus, he probably doesn't like if he could pick the play in any city. I don't know if he would, you know, or for any area. I don't know if he'd pick
yeah.
Utah. So it's tough.
And that's the history of the Jazz, right? They don't bring in big names. They don't make the big splash. They never have. It's like the good Utah teams that we've seen have been guys that they developed and guys they drafted and they developed. They're a little bit like the Packers in that way. Like they're just not the team to make the big splash. They're the team that is in a smaller city, not any kind of marquee free agent location. And they just, for one, they just can't. And it just, I think, doesn't fit their identity that we're going to overpay or let's keep it in house. That's just the mentality that the Jazz have. And you see it in every league. I think the Bengals have this. I think the Packers have this. I think a lot of the smaller market teams have that mentality. And if you get guys that buy in and love it there and really embrace the city, it works out in some way, but you're just never going to be ahead of the eight ball, especially in a league like the NBA, where it's just so easy to kind of move around and get to where you want to be. It's easier than ever. So teams that mentality, like the Jazz, is just yeah, it is what it is. But let's talk about the Clippers' point of view here. I think Paul George is back, who I view to be the best shooting guard in the league. I don't think that's the hottest take in the world, is it?
Phoenix Suns fan.
Phoenix. I am a Phoenix Suns fan, but Booker's really good. Like
Oh,
Booker,
dude, some of the Booker tweets I've been seeing that come out of Suns Twitter are insane.
we really do love Devin Booker,
The
and I love.
ball being played right now is just
It's crazy, and they
top
don't
notch.
actually believe. And here's the thing: I like listening to local radio here in Phoenix. They don't actually think he should win the MVP award. They're mad that he doesn't get. He's not even being considered. That's like the general vibe. It's like, well, why aren't we talking about Booker in the like maybe if he doesn't win it, it's fine, but they should at least talk to him. But I disagree with my fellow Suns fans in that, because it's like, okay, even you admit that he shouldn't win the award.
Exactly. There is no if you are a Suns fan and you don't consider him MVP, and all of the Suns fans don't consider him MVP, then he doesn't belong in the conversation.
Right.
You
Like,
can't be in the conversation and not actually deserve the award or have an argument for it.
right. And it's like, okay, like I think every Suns fan would also tell you, like, this is a really well built team, like from top to bottom. There's a lot of depth here, and
Yeah.
they can survive basically any injury. Like I think every Sun, like that's clear about the Suns, is like they are just deep. They are really deep. It's a really well built team, a really well coached team, and Booker is the best player on it, but he's not necessarily carrying the roster.
Right.
So it's like, the way Jokic is, or even
It's
the
like,
way maybe Giannis is.
Is he the MVP? No, because I mean, but even if he had an argument for just being like having the best season, okay, I could get behind that too. But he's just not, like, he's just not the best player. He's not having the best season. He isn't the most valuable player. He's been really great, but there's a divide between bad, playing really great, and being the MVP.
Right, right. They're mad that he isn't getting talked about more than like he should be the MVP. But it's like, well, if you're not going to realistically make the case that he's like he should be number one, not like he should be number four, like that just doesn't work. That he should be the fourth most talked about player in the league. But at any rate, I do love Devin Booker. He like this is I think that like him on the defensive side of the ball has been really nice this year. He's pretty locked in on that side of the ball as well, which of course a lot of like prolific scorers when they get in the league are not great on defense, and Booker was no exception. He wasn't great at it, but I mean, he's one of the best. He's a pesky, tough matchup. He's 6'6", I think he is. He's really athletic. He's locked in, and a lot of defense is effort, and he is giving that effort right now. I watched a Nuggets game a couple of weeks ago where he dropped like 49 and was playing fantastic defense. So like Booker is definitely him, Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell are probably the best shooting guards in basketball, maybe in that order. But yeah, I don't know. I think anyway, back to the Clippers. I do think Chris Paul might even be a little bit better on both ends of the floor, just by a hair. Just a lockdown has the potential to be an absolute lockdown, like all defensive type of defender, and also just an insane shot maker. As the Jazz said, he was pretty clearly the best player on the court during their matchup a couple of years ago in the playoffs, and was last night as well, coming off of injuries. So yeah, I'm a big Chris Paul fan. Not Chris Paul. I am a big Chris Paul fan, but Paul George. Paul George, what do you make of the Clippers in the playoffs now that he's back? Do you see Kawhi coming back at all? And what would you do? You know any? Do you have any kind of like opinion
I
on that,
don't
or
know if
is
I
it
have an
just
insight
like
about Kawhi coming back. My gut tells me probably, probably not. But
right?
it's, I mean, the Clippers are a really good team. They're a playoff team, even without both of their star players. You get one of them back, and all of a sudden, I got to look and I say, is this team really that much worse than the Nuggets? I don't
No.
know. So I think they have a chance to go out and like win a series. It's like, what if they play like the beaten up Warriors or something like that? As far as like winning it all, it's just a little tough with missing a team missing Kawhi Leonard is going to go, beat the Suns, for example, right? But I think they're a pretty serious playoff team. They're going to go at least be competitive, whereas before I don't know if they really could have.
Yeah, when you're high on talent is what it was, and like that can be a pleasant team, kind of like the Raptors, right? Where it's like that's a really like good unit, well coached, clearly outperforming everything. But like at the end of the day, in the playoffs, it's pretty rare that you see a team without high end talent advancing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Clippers about 3 days ago. But now you kind of can see a little bit of that high end talent coming back. And I mean, you saw that ridiculous Chris Paul, Jesus Christ, that catch and throw back and bounds from that Jazz game. And you see like that's like the kind of wow splash plays that superstars give you. And they have that now. So yeah, the Clippers definitely are very scary.
And it's their defense is good enough for them to go make a run. You're adding Paul George back. That doesn't really hurt the defense, certainly. Their offense is just, not, and have the juice. It doesn't have that high level offensive player. So it's been pretty bad all year. And now you get Paul George back. Is that enough alone? I don't know, but at least makes them competitive.
Here's what it says about Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
By all accounts, Leonard has been working hard and looks to be in good shape, but the Clippers will be extra cautious with their franchise star. If they make it out of the play-in tournament, however, and Paul George and Norman Powell also return, Leonard would just need clearance from the medical staff to play again, and that door has been left open.
So that sounds to me like we'll see, because it's a good year to try to go get out of the West. There's like one team that's like really, really solidly and crazy strong, and everyone else you're like, if the Clippers were healthy, they'd be the favorites against them. Everybody but the Suns. Then the Suns would be a tough matchup. So it sounds like if Kawhi's like, if you're there, I'll I'll try to come back. And that's maybe not the worst strategy in the world. I got to go look at the standings. Of
Yes.
course, the odds of the Clippers coming out of the maybe the I don't know. The odds of the Clippers coming out of the plans have got to be pretty solid.
I'd agree.
Yeah, they're sitting here at an 8 seed, so they need to either beat the Timberwolves or then the winner of what would now be Pelicans or Spurs.
Yes. Shooting guard is the coolest position. I would agree that shooting guard is the coolest position. That's kind of like the secondary ball handler, get it to him and let him score basically, which is obviously a cool thing to do, is be a good scorer. So I would agree that shooting guard is the coolest position, followed by a small forward, followed by point guard, followed by center, followed by power forward, sadly the least cool position. Would you agree, Matt? That
my 2K character is a power forward. Cool.
Mine is also a power forward because we are both 6'5", 6'4", so we're tall guys, and
yeah,
in 2K, I tend to lean towards more of the small forward or the more forward or center type of
2K
position.
has not been any good since you could make a post scoring center. You can't really do it anymore. You can, but they put the finishing, the post scoring, and the defense in 3 different categories, and you can really only be good at till. That's a shame. I used to have sick post scoring centers.
Point guard below small forward in the coolest positions hierarchy.
Yeah, dude, small forwards
are kind of sick, dude. I always think of like the best players in the league kind of being small forwards.
Name
or that
cool
classic
5 small forwards. Braun.
Don't say that. Never say Braun. Get out of here, Braun.
Kevin Durant, when he's coming out of the draft, was considered a small forward. Count it.
Tatum's a small forward. Oubre might be the coolest player in the league. That guy's sick.
Oh, see, this is the problem. So many of these guys are like, this guy maybe is like a shooting guard / small forward. This guy's a small forward / power forward. So there's almost Edwards. Is Edwards
Zach
really? Is he playing
Zach
more the
LaVine? You can kind of maybe call a small forward. I don't know. I think small forwards are usually like 6'8", 6'9", super athletes who can, like, good small forwards are like, they'll have like the coolest dunks usually, and they'll have like the biggest highlight plays. I think that they're usually the most like big and athletic guys on the court at all times. So like the amount of like sick athletic plays that come from small forwards is pretty high, but Book is the coolest player in the league. I've made that. Zach LaVine is a shooting guard, but DeRozan is also a shooting guard, so they will.
Yeah, somehow they're all guards. I don't get it.
So they're used to like kind of a small forward. I don't know, but it's in general, shooting small forwards are one of the coolest, and point guards, they're cool too. But
that's something we need to talk about. You feel like Embiid's still running away with the MVP?
I think after the Bucks came back and won yesterday, I thought, because I watched the Jazz game, but like, though, when I saw that the Bucks came back and won that game, it's like, I don't know if he's running away with it. But as my take was, I don't think that he needs to run away with it. I just think others can't run away with it. And I haven't seen that happen yet. But I would love if Giannis made his case. I would love if Giannis won MVP. Again, that was my preseason bet, and I like Giannis a lot. And I do like the Bucks as a Wisconsin sports fan, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that Embiid is probably still the winner if it ends right now, but he's probably not running away with it, like I said.
Well, the thing is, it's like Giannis has had recently like the most impressive game, so it's him.
Right.
I don't know. Giannis needs these 3 MVPs. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see the Bucks and Giannis in the playoffs. I'm very interested because before last year, the narrative is it's like, oh, Giannis's game, it never works in the playoffs. And then last year, it did work in the playoffs.
It worked okay.
It worked all right in the playoffs. I distinctly remember him dropping 50 in Game 6 on my Suns, but he definitely has had his playoff struggles before, and teams have been able to shut him down before. And it'll be interesting to see if, like, what Giannis we get in the playoffs, if it'll be kind of an underwhelming, because like Giannis is not immune to like LeBron is a player who just has consistently always been like great in the playoffs and the Warriors. So I think we're kind of used to whoever, like especially in the East, like the best player just being the best player in the playoffs. But I don't think that's necessarily a guarantee. Not that this has anything to do with the MVP race, but I don't think it's like necessarily a guarantee with Giannis. I don't think it will necessarily. It's not at all likely that he does kind of be underwhelming, but he's not immune to it. So I'll be interesting to see how he follows up his run last year, or if he isn't as good as he was last year. I don't know.
I do think that Giannis has a path to the GOAT debate.
He
I think he
does.
does. The thing that makes him, I guess, so much like his defense. Jordan was a great defender. LeBron was a great defender for a long time, and he was kind of underrated in that. But I really think that Giannis is like even a step above those guys just because of his size and his impact on the. It's like you can be, and I know Michael Jordan has a defensive player of the year, and I know LeBron was a year away from one, but with Giannis, you're seeing him being like arguably the best defender in the league and closing out games with defense year after year after year. And on top of that, he's going and battling through injuries to put up 40 a game in the playoffs. With him, it's just a longevity thing. He just has to keep doing it for a long time because that's what the other guys were able to do, you know.
Yeah,
But
I can see it too. I mean, imagine this year if he were to win another MVP, if he were to win another finals, even all of a sudden, like you're getting into best power forward of all time resume right there. Like he's on the brink of it right now already. So if you're in the conversation for a top 3-point power forward of all time at age 27, you can build a hell of a career like by age 32. But I would say it's very unlikely, although there is a path.
it's you have to
If there's,
do it for.
you would need to see a Buck. You would need to see a Bucks dynasty right now. You would need to see them win it, like a Bucks dynasty right now with multiple rings and multiple more MVPs with him. And it's like the Bucks are really good, really, really good. Clearly, are they dynasty good? We'll see, and that is, I think, something that is probably needed for him to
the
get
difference between them being really good and dynasty good is probably, I mean, I don't want to say it. A lot of it's also lucky.
It is, but yeah,
a lot of it also is Giannis a great player or like one of the best ever? So
true.
Is Giannis the second best power forward ever? Yes. If you were a general manager and you had your choice between any power forward in the history of basketball to have within their era for their entirety of their career, you'd pick Tim Duncan first. But if he was off the board, you'd go Giannis. Like I would rather have Giannis and build around him from what he's done from when he came into the league to age 27 than I would like Karl Malone. I don't think that's crazy.
I don't think that's crazy. I'm a big Kevin Garnett fan, and I don't think think Garnett and Giannis are like all that crazy different from each other. And I mean, at age 27, Garnett probably, he probably didn't have the two MVPs or a ring like Giannis does, but I mean, at age 27, he probably had more all-stars, more points, more everything, just because he had been doing it for a little bit longer.
Garnett has a good argument because I'm a big longevity guy, and I think everyone really cares about longevity more than people let on. But I also don't think that it's just so tough to judge. Garnett was not what Giannis is on offense.
Yes,
that's the big thing. And it's just like that's a tough one. Would you rather have Garnett for an entire career or Giannis up until this point? That I could see the argument for. I may still go with Giannis just because
I think I would go with Garnett. I think I would go up to Garnett up to this because he was an all-star at age 36. All right. And he was a valuable piece of that Celtics team at age 36. And he was, just a monster on defense as well. So he's the only reason. He might be the only reason that the Minnesota Timberwolves are still a franchise in Minnesota, to be completely honest with you. If there was no Kevin Garnett, they probably would have packed up and left for somewhere else, honestly. Yeah, I'm a big KG fan. He might be my favorite also of all time, just from a personality standpoint. I fucking love Kevin Garnett. I think that he is like a just from a athlete like stand perspective. I'm a big KG fan. So
That's
I might still have KG.
I could
Dirk.
see that. I could
Dirk
see
is
that.
also. Would you rather have Dirk up into the head? Like has Giannis passed Dirk? So that's another one.
I don't know, dude. If you start getting to like a third MVP with it's like this guy is that crazy, and also it's like he's like dropping 48 game and defensive player of the year. Again, I'm a big longevity guy, but at a point, peak is more valuable. And it's like if you were building a team, you may rather have a guy who's had that crazy peak. I know Dirk had, had two finals runs essentially 5 years, 6 years apart, which speaks to his longevity too. But Giannis is starting to get there. It's close.
It's
very
close.
close.
It's close. Malone, I don't care if you rank Malone as the 50th best power forward of all time, because no one's going to defend his honor, and I'm not going to be one of them. Anyone can pass. Anyone can pass Karl Malone. If you want to make the argument that it's like,
the cool part about that is like, it would be one thing if he was the type of guy where it's like he was the dude and he could go, like he went out and like was the number one option on some championship teams, and it's like it's tough to ignore him. It's actually not that hard to ignore Karl Malone.
Yeah,
it's not that difficult.
It's not that difficult. It's like
things. It's like how high can I rank him all time when it's like it's like he's got, I mean, he did it for a very long time. He's a really good player.
He's like Frank Gore. It's like Frank Gore. It's like if Frank Gore did something horrible, no one would ever mention him in the best running backs of all time category, even though he's like third or in the league in yards or whatever. Or like maybe even a Larry Fitzgerald, who like that one might be a little bit more comparable because he's third all time. Like people would definitely take offense if you, I know for a fact people take offense if you sleep on Larry Fitzgerald all time. But like if Larry Fitzgerald did something, Larry Fitzgerald actually kind of did do something horrible, but nobody talks about it. But like if he was like known to have done something like what Karl Malone did, it would be pretty easy to write off Larry Fitzgerald all time. And like Karl Malone, boring, like merchant, longevity merchant, John Stockton merchant, whatever you want to say. You can say, if you wanted to start being like, man, I really think that I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. I really think that LaMarcus Aldridge is better than him all time. I'll be like, sure, why not? I don't care. I'm not gonna sit here and go to bat for Karl Malone.
I'm not gonna be the guy to defend Karl Malone either.
No one is. No one is.
Yeah, it's like
you can rank him however low you want, and I'll be like, I see it. It's not ridiculous.
Stockton,
it's not
underrated. Stockton didn't peak high enough for him to be really that underrated in my book.
Stockton never dropped 40 points in a game, sadly.
Yeah, his career high is like 34. Sorry, get more buckets.
What did Fitz do? Whatever you do not look up Larry Fitzgerald, what Larry Fitzgerald did to his wife in 2008. Do not look that up. But give Aldridge Stockton and he is Karl Malone. Yeah, see, you're right. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Talking about the Heat slump.
We did in the podcast a couple days ago where we are concerned.
We're concerned. It's not the end of days or anything. It's not Armageddon yet. However, it's also not good. You'd want them to be winning games and being the number one seed right now, and they're
losing. They're not winning those games. And yeah, like we said, it's just, look, your best player shoots 18% from three, or he's not their best player. Jimmy's not their best player. It's Bam Adebayo is their best player, and I live by that. But like, again, your team leader and someone who is viewed as like their number one option is really not a proficient scorer from all three levels, and it's really only a proficient scorer from one. Bam Adebayo, as good as he is also not someone who's a proficient. Like it is tough when the defense tightens up, is like, who is going to go get you a bucket? And I resisted it, and they were able to do it a couple years ago with largely the same core. They were able to make it to the finals with Butler and make it to the finals with Adebayo and Duncan Robinson. And they were really good in the fourth quarter in those finals, and they closed out plenty of games. But in this East, I don't know if you're going to, like, even if they do pull it together a little bit, for them to make a run and get out of there like they did a couple of years ago in the bubble is Tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Best places for Donovan Mitchell to go if he requests a trade. I mean, it all depends on where he wants to go. You need a place that he could reasonably want to be, because if he's going to request a trade, like it's probably not going to be to Oklahoma, right? It's like,
Right.
um, and you want it to be with a team that is reasonably good, or has another guy there that they would be able to keep in that trade.
The Raptors, the Toronto Raptors.
I think the Raptors. I don't know if he would okay a
Want to go
Raptors
there?
trade.
I don't know
That's
either.
the tough part. It's and then it's like it would be need to be a team like good place, good team, and at least like a workable fit. And I honestly think that Atlanta does make some sense.
I
I
think so
do.
too.
It's tough because it's going to be like, oh, two small guards, no way you can possibly ever make that work. And it's like, honestly, I kind of think you can. But
Yeah, I've seen the Suns. I
I think
watched
I
the
can figure
Suns
it
with
out.
Booker and Chris Paul, and I mean, they're not really. Booker's not a small guard, but like that guard duo seemed to work out okay.
It's
You
like
know,
Boston. Like, what would they give up? I
they
mean,
would.
Jalen Brown, okay, then we're talking. But I'm not taking. I think Atlanta has better young players, and I think they have better. I mean, I think they have more picks at least. They have this Knicks pick, don't they? That's got to be lottery protected though. But they've got more picks and better young assets and whatnot. So Trey Young and Mitchell would be disgusting.
Yeah, it would be.
I'm saying, dude. Um, and I
Why
think
does
he could.
nobody want to come to Toronto? Well, first of all, it's Canada, and I think the city is not the biggest problem, and the weather is not the biggest problem because it's just like Seattle, right? Like Seattle's not freezing all year round. Seattle's a nice city, but thing about Seattle is it's far away from everything. Everything. Every away game is a trip across the country. Like it's either down the coast to Southern California, which is not a small trip. It's like into like Seattle is the I would be willing to bet the farthest city away from the nearest next closest place. So you would have to be traveling like long distances basically all the time in Seattle, and same with this is not Seattle, this is Toronto. Like Toronto's or wait, no, I'm thinking of Vancouver. Where is Toronto? Never mind. I'm
Buffalo.
done. My
It's
Canadian.
because it's in a different country.
But yeah,
That's why
that's
it's just a pain in the ass to go
I
live
was
in a
thinking.
different country. I mean, if you want to do a lot of stuff, you have to become like a Canadian citizen, and it is really cold. It's it's even farther north than Buffalo, so it's just, and it's a big city. But when we say big market, I feel like we really mean place you would want to live plus
Yeah.
market
No
size.
guy who no basketball player grows up being like the bright lights of
See,
Toronto.
I don't want to diss Toronto, but like if you were, it's a tough adjustment. It's a lot, you know. It's not that cold. It's pretty cold. And
It
it's
might
also not, it's in a different country.
that's the biggest thing. Like every time you travel, okay, I was thinking of Vancouver, guys. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Vancouver, not Toronto. I'm in the wrong place. But you do have to like, I don't know, like going in and out of the United, like living in Canada is just not something that NBA players are probably too keen on. But Toronto fans are always angry for some reason. Every fan is always angry for some reason, and that is true for every sport and really everything in
I
general. Every fan base is about the same, I
it
think.
does bother me when you can't bring up that like a certain team is not a destination for like free agents and players and whatnot. Like I can be honest, like Charlotte is not a destination for my team isn't. Most teams aren't. Um and that's okay. Like it's hard to be, but I don't blame a player if like if I'm gonna get traded, I want to go somewhere I want to be. I can understand that.
What is the biggest free agent signing to a small market team that we can remember in recent or like not LA, not California, not Brooklyn,
Like a
and maybe
signing,
not Miami, like
probably
a big signing.
maybe someone with Boston.
Boston. Boston, I would also consider a pretty big one, honestly.
I'm
Like
trying
I'm
to
thinking
think.
like
There's definitely something
Timberwolves.
very recent I'm not thinking of. All teams should move to LA.
That would make it fair. That's what I always think it's interesting, like in soccer, like Premier League soccer. Like when you think of England and all these teams like Manchester and like all these teams, I don't even know. I guess I don't know if they're all in England, but like a lot of them are in the country of England. And you think about that, they're like multiple of these huge teams in London. I always think that's interesting, and I never think about it.
Aldridge to San Antonio,
James Harden
LeBron
to
to
Philly.
Cleveland. That's a good one.
That is a good
That's
one.
kind of cheating.
That's kind of cheating. I also think Philly is also not a small market. I would say like these Philly answers. Aldridge to San Antonio.
Look at it team by team. What's the biggest free agent that the Hornets have ever signed? I'm really trying. It just
Oubre.
I'm sure there's someone I'm forgetting.
Kawhi to Toronto was a trade. Kawhi didn't really have a choice to sign there, and then as soon as he just left immediately.
How many games did Kawhi actually?
Aldridge just to Batum. Yeah, Batum. Gordon Hayward. Yeah, that's probably the right answer.
Yeah. Batum, and that was a wonderful contract for us. Terry Rozier. Yeah. Gordon Hayward. Yeah.
We're trying to think of guys maybe a little bit bigger than that, but yeah, there really haven't been. Tony Parker to the Hornets. That was cursed.
And a lot of the Hornets signings are just like, we can this guy isn't really a max player, but we can overpay him and he won't get a contract like this from anyone else. That's what happened with Gordon Hayward. He's been really good, but we gave him $120 million and he can't stay healthy. Terry Rozier probably, it was just like, well, we're trading Kemba. We might as well get something back. And he's ended up being really, really great. Kevin Durant to Golden State.
That's not small market. That is not small market. And neither is is Chicago a big market? Playing for the Bills. Yeah, that's the Bills. Jeez, I can't talk today. Playing for the Bulls in the NBA. Yeah, that's a draw. I think, yeah, it's cold, but Chicago's a huge city. I have soccer knowledge. I don't really have that much soccer knowledge. I like soccer, but I don't pay attention.
Who is your MVP?
I think I'm on the Jokic bandwagon. I think by definition, he has elevated his team more. He's done the best with the worst.
I'd have to see who has the highest VORP. But I would.
It's Devin Booker from the That Boy Nice test. I saw him hit a fadeaway at the baseline. One too many.
Last night I was watching
a couple
Giannis.
more.
No, this dude Giannis actually hit 4 seconds into the shot clock, took a pull-up three, nailed it.
That awesome. Boy Nice. He's got that dog in him. Booker's got that dog to him more than those other guys do. Giannis is too nice. He's too friendly. Jokic doesn't have that dog in him. He's too fat. He doesn't have that dog in him. He doesn't really want to work for it. And Embiid is soft. He's a crybaby. Booker from the Phoenix Suns has that dog in him to a higher degree.
I'm looking at Giannis's shooting splits. He
Jokic
shoots 80% from within 3 feet of the basket.
He's just like me.
He's just like me. That's what I notice when I'm watching. He's been shooting really good from mid-range this year. He's really been shooting well from mid-range.
Top 5 players with that dog in them. Number 1, Devin Booker. Number 2, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Oh, he's Jalen Green.
Oh yeah,
in 1 year's time.
Sorry. Yeah, Jalen Green 1 year's time. He paints his nails, so he does not have that dog in him. I'm sorry.
Jalen Green is so sick. There's so many Jalen Green haters. They're gonna be so mad at themselves be dumb in a year when they have to pretend to hate this guy. Ja Morant, absolutely.
Ja Morant has that dog in him. Gary Trent's got that dog in him. I think, yeah, Jalen Green is someone that obviously when I did my scouting on the NBA draft, I did my fair share, as in I watched Jalen Green highlights and I watched Cade Cunningham highlights, and I came away with the conclusion that Jalen Green is the better player than him.
Dude, you're never going to feel dumb. I don't know. I don't want to go that crazy, but sometimes when you watch a prospect and you're like, this guy moves crazy well. That's probably a great thing. And it usually is. That was my whole Trey Mann thing. And he's been pretty solid. And it's like, this guy's just crazy in the way that he moves with the ball in his hands. It's like, well, that's good enough.
Yeah, no, he the way that he creates separation is elite already, even at the NBA level. Like Jalen Green is good at creating separation, being quick, shaking the guy in front of him. Doesn't always hit the shot, but he's good at getting open, and he's good at shaking, and he's just so hyper athletic. And we saw in the G League that that's a guy who can hit shot, like, again, some of the most difficult shots that you can imagine, the turnaround jumpers, like deep 2-pointers, deep threes, step back threes. He was hitting all of them. It's like, okay, this guy's capable of scoring at all three levels. He's one of the best athletes in the NBA. I will be taking that. And Cade Cunningham has been absolutely fantastic, and he's not a shabby athlete either. But I was really, really high on. That's how I felt about Cole Anthony. I like Cole Anthony a lot too. My biggest tweet, I'm so mad that my biggest tweet ever is Cole Anthony slander, when I said Cole Anthony showed up to the All-Star game, bricked some three, pulled his pants down, wore some Timbs and left, or bricked some dunks and left, and it got like 60,000 likes. And I was like, oh, I love Cole Anthony, and he probably saw this tweet
Now
of
he's
me
gonna be
being
like,
like,
Theo
now he's
Ash
gonna be
hates
Theo
me.
Ash's man.
He's gonna think that about you for the rest of time. It's a shame.
But yeah. Anyway, Kevin Looney has that dog in him. Watch the high school highlights. I don't know. Have you ever seen the video of Colin Sexton telling Penny Hardaway, "Your son is trash"? No, I haven't, but that's funny. I like Sexton a lot. I'm excited to see him get back. He was the guy who, we talked about this on the live stream a little bit, almost let Alabama win that game when it was 3-on-5 that one time, and he talks shit. So he's got that dog in him for real. Colin Sexton.
Can I give you a Hornets hot take?
Yes.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many guys.
Too many
guys who can score. Too many. You can't give. There's just one, like LaMelo and Terry Rozier, and now you've got Book Knight too, who hasn't played a ton, granted, but at some point you'd like him too, and Bridges and Hayward. It's just like, I can't possibly get all of them the ball proportionate amount.
This is why they're going to trade for Rudy Gobert this summer.
And it's like, I just think that we're better now because we have all of those guys, but I think that, like, maybe, I don't know. I'd like to see Hayward probably, like, if it's going to hurt LaMelo's development or Miles Bridges' development. And I think it does. I think you have to let at some point. And Borrego, LaMelo had an interview about it. He was not like, he's like, they just don't let me do enough. And it's true. They don't. I mean, for a long time, he was averaging under 30 minutes a game this season, which is just ridiculous for a guy who, this guy probably has more potential out since like Larry Johnson. He's one of our most important rookies ever. And you got to give him the keys to the car at some point.
Yeah, I would say the Hornets. Yeah, I would agree. Obviously, you putting points on the board wins you. If you score more points than your opponent, you win the game. So putting a bunch of scores together is not the worst team build that you can have. But yeah, you do need to have a well-rounded franchise, and you do need guys who fill various roles. And I think about this a decent amount of time where yeah, it is. I think it's better to have fewer guys in specialized roles maybe than even just a bunch of hybrids. Like, I think about this when I'm looking at the draft. It's like I'm always low on gadget players or hybrid players. It's like, man, let me I'd rather have a guy who maybe does one thing really well, which isn't totally comparable to the Hornets situation, but it is like, you've got too many guys who do one. I don't know. I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, they need to have a little bit of a brush fire, right? Like, that's a controlled burn is when, like, firefighters will go to the forest and like burn some of the overgrowth off so the young stuff can grow. And yeah, that's kind of what the Hornets need to do, is maybe burn some of the older stuff and let the young stuff grow. And especially if you can get interior defense for the older stuff, which they would need. So
people get on Trey for defense, but why do people not get on LaMelo? Because LaMelo's not nearly as bad a defender as Trey Young. I don't even think LaMelo's like a bad defender at all. I think too many. It's tough because it's nice to have it so where if someone has an off game, there's always someone having an on game when you have that many guys. But at some point, it's like you sort of need LaMelo to work through that. Like he does need to have the keys to the car. He does need. You don't really have a clear number 1, 2, 3 option, and at some point the Hornets have to get there.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. Especially when you can, they would be better off trading some of their scores and some of their high level, high high level guys for someone who could defend a center. That would be nice. So I agree with you. I had a take that I wanted to talk about, and now I can't
Mhm.
remember where I was going with it.
We can
Oh,
keep
what did I
talking.
want to talk about?
LaMelo does
Oh,
gamble too much. I agree, but he's not a bad defender. I don't think.
I remember what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The Los Angeles Lakers, that old team in LA, most of their final, I was on Twitter. They got blown out by the Mavs yesterday. And I saw all the Lakers fans that I follow saying, stop putting us on national television. Stop it. And I think like many of their next couple of games are on national TV. And they're right. We got to, the Lakers, we're talking about it right now. People are they going to miss this? Yeah, they suck. And it's been a whole year. And they're just a
Back it up.
they're just a bad, terrible basketball team. And
If someone
like,
said make the exact opposite of the Phoenix Suns,
yeah,
and you
it's
like watching, I turned on the Lakers for like maybe 5 minutes last night, and I didn't remember that they were without LeBron. I just it's
right.
not.
Sixers Bucks was one of the best games of the season, and the Jazz was on, although the Jazz was really late at night, so that
Yeah,
would,
I
yeah,
ended up watching Sixers
yeah.
Bucks.
But like, yeah, the late, you can flex these games in and out of windows if I'm not mistaken, and you can put a different game. Like, get the Lakers. Like, can we just right off the late, like they suck. And I think like most people have written off the Lakers, but the TV networks hasn't, or maybe
Well,
they haven't.
people watch them. People watch them. They
I
only care
guess.
about. They would not if the ratings were bad. People would not. Is Westbrook really the main problem on the Lakers, dude? It is easier to list the things that work on the Lakers than it is the problems.
Yeah, is Westbrook the main problem with the Lakers? Look, if Russell Westbrook was not on that team, they would still be ass, bro. They
What
would
would
still be horrible.
they be doing on offense if they didn't have Westbrook right now with no LeBron, no AD? Is it like Malik Monk? I wouldn't be mad at the Malik Monk show.
I would.
We'd get to see Melo just start playing like it's New York again.
Good God. Yeah, no, it's an everything problem. They don't fit. They can't make shots. They're old, they're not athletic, they're injury prone, they have no depth, they have no chemistry, they don't really have good interior because again, there's no athleticism, there's no defense. It's just horrible. Like everything about them as a basketball team is bad. The only reason they win anything is because like, yeah, sometimes they do have a LeBron James, and you're gonna luck into a couple wins, especially when you have him. But like, yeah, bro, if
THT will save them
THT
absolutely.
is one of the worst players in the fucking
He's
league, I
literally
don't
like
care.
I the decision between him and Caruso, and they went with THT is just so bad.
It's so bad, and it's like I don't know what their organizational like mindset is, where it's like, we are the Lakers, but we're not going to fork over extra money for Alex Caruso because he's too expensive. You're the Los Angeles Lakers. You have $1 billion like
They
just laying
paid
around.
THT basically the same thing. They
Right.
could have brought back both.
They
If
could have
they
brought
really
back
wanted
both.
to.
They're the Lakers. Release a new hat. The entire country is going to be wearing it. You're the Lakers. You're the biggest brand in the fucking world. So, like, it's not that hard. I don't think. Like, who is your owner? They have $1 billion. They've got their structure at the top is basically like keeping up with the Kardashians. That's like with the Bus family and like bringing in magic. It's literally like a reality TV show, like with like wasn't I don't want to totally be embarrassingly wrong. One sec. But it's just a horribly run like drama at this point. And that got him LeBron and AD, and that was just sheer talent. There was enough there to win a title. But like, oh my God, they just make me want to, they give me a headache because of just it's literally like if a TV like it's fitting for LA, if like a bunch of reality TV stars were trying to run a basketball team, and maybe they were just trying to get like the most interesting personalities. I don't fucking know, but um,
I
yeah,
really THT is Dort without defense. THT's basketball reference page is not looking amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went on basketball reference. I don't know if that makes me a casual, but true
I don't
shooting
think
under
it does.
50% is rough.
It is. It is rough. It is rough. Yeah, no. THT, he's not good at anything.
Does LeBron run it back one more season? He would be a crazy person. He would have to. I can't imagine it, dude.
Neither can
He's gonna team up with Donovan Mitchell. Is what he's gonna do. He's going to the Jazz. You heard it here first.
You know what the pattern of LeBron is. Stay for about 4 years. The team has run its course. It brought a title to his city. He goes somewhere else. He goes back to the Cavs. That's the LeBron pattern. It's happened a million times, and he gets
right
slander for it.
It works every time.
It works. It works. It legitimately works. Look, if you win a ring, even one, it is worth it. It is worth it. And teams like the Lakers may not understand that because they win rings all the time, and they've seen like 6 in their lifetime. So maybe one doesn't feel like it is, but as if you're a fan of literally any other NBA team outside of maybe the Boston Celtics, the Golden State Warriors, or the Lakers, you know that you might go your entire lifetime without seeing a ring, a championship. Or you may go 50, 60 years without seeing one. So yeah, if you get one, it works. But
if he goes back to Cleveland, do they want a chip? I'll tell you this, man. If they don't have to give up Mobley, Allen, or Garland, and I don't think it's insane to think that they wouldn't, if LeBron is basically, because it's really only 1 year of LeBron and he's getting older and the Lakers have no way to compete. So maybe they just give up picks and whatnot. Like maybe, dude, that team would be pretty strong.
That would be a pretty strong team. And you would probably be able to sign some sort of free agent if LeBron is there. That is typically what happens. Is LeBron does tend to either through trades or through whatever means mean a second star or of some sort. So yeah, that would probably start a domino effect that would make the Cavs pretty strong contenders to come out of the East. But who knows? Who knows? Talk about the Pelicans owning every Lakers pick and how the Lakers are going to be in an 8-year rebuild. Good for the Pelicans. Good move, Pelicans. Look, Brandon Ingram, I think people are starting to come around. I saw a poll on Instagram the other day, and it said, is Brandon Ingram one of the most underrated players in basketball? 90% of people said yes, he is, which makes me think that he's, in fact, not underrated. And everybody knows that he's good.
My question, if a player's underrated, I feel like there needs to be something that they can do or that they do that people don't think they do.
Yes.
Brandon Ingram's a really strong shot creator. And he's really, really strong offensive player. He can shot create at a winning level for a basketball team. There's not really that many guys in the world that can do that.
Yeah.
But he's just really good. And I feel like everyone knows he's really good.
My thought on over underrated is if no one gets mad at you for saying it, you have missed. Like if I say Russell Westbrook is overrated and everybody says, yes, absolutely, I agree. He's not overrated. Everybody agrees with you. If I say, I don't know, if I say Rudy Gobert is overrated, which a lot of people would agree with, but I would definitely get Google stat boys telling me that I'm wrong. Like that gets to be a little bit more accurate. And if I say like, I don't know, this isn't what I genuinely believe, but like, oh, Curry's the most overrated point guard of all time, and everyone gets mad at me, then I think like, even if I disagree, I respect the validity of your overrated take, because for someone to be overrated, like most people have to disagree. So that being said, chat, who is the most overrated player in basketball? And I better get mad at the name that I see. I better think you're an idiot when I see this name. Otherwise, I think you're wrong. So you can't win.
Holmes is a little bit overrated. He's nice, but like he doesn't stay. What bothers me, people think like the Hornets are going to trade for him. He's going to like fix the Hornets. Like, dude, now they're just saying
Booker.
Oh, the sun. No,
now that one's obvious. He's underrated, dude.
Rashawn Holmes is like not crazy strong defensively, and that's tough for a 5. And it's he does some cool stuff, but like he also like he's never played a full season ever. So it's like
DeAndre Jordan is not overrated. The entire Suns roster is overrated. I don't know. Now I'm really
Anthony
getting mad.
Davis, Harden, Jokic, Mobley. You know what bothers me? Jokic doesn't get considered one of those like, oh, he's got that dog, and I'm like, that guy's crazy nice. I test guys, but like, how do you guys watch him and not think that he's crazy good? I think it's more of a casual take to say that you can't like it's just the stats for Jokic. No, you can watch him, and he's also obviously one of the best players in the league.
Yes, I would agree. Some of the passes, I always think it's funny that Jokic, his quote about the All-Star game is one of my favorite Jokic quotes. That he's like, I think it's harder than playing in a regular game. Is what he said after the All-Star game, which makes total sense for a guy like Jokic because his entire game is based on like manipulating defenses, and when there's no like in running plays and all of that, not his entire game, but a lot of it. But when there is nothing to run, he doesn't know what to do. So at the All-Star games, like he should legitimately be the last pick because he can't like obviously he's really good from mid-range. He can't not do anything, but it's always funny to me. Like that to me is like the Hooper versus basketball player is like the Jokic's quote there, where it's like I'm a basketball player. I can only function in like the scheme of like running a basketball like game. He's like the ultimate basketball player.
Yeah, he's awesome. I don't know. I'm so I disagree with Jokic overrated takes. Thibault is mad overrated. I think that's interesting because Thibault's. I don't disagree, but I don't think it's like me arguing that like Thibault isn't good at the things you think he's good at. It's that might maybe is not as valuable as
Thibault is Andre
think.
Roberson's long lost brother.
Like Andre Roberson, I really think maybe never like is a guy who is a great defender, like a 1-2 or a 3, like a smaller guy like that, who's a great defender, worth the lack of shooting, worth just like a non-shooter from the perimeter. I think it's debatable.
Yeah.
A role player cannot be overrated. I think they can.
I think they can be. If a role player is just total ass and people think he's like good, then I think they can be overrated. Like, I don't know. I definitely see it more in like the NFL than the NBA because I know more about NFL role players, but there are some guys who are people like, oh, he's solid. It's like that guy's not solid. That guy's I feel a little bit about that way on the Bengals offensive line when they signed Ted Karras. And everybody's like, oh, he's good.
Thibault is solid, I think. I'd probably agree. And the shooting is like
Roberson's still playing basketball. Where
off from that's like it's still not like that far off. I feel like also with Thibault, like where you could get to the point where it's like he's not a terrible shooter, and he is crazy on defense. So I would say, yeah, but I think maybe he can be overrated by some people. There is a limit to your impact as a perimeter defender if you are going to be someone who gets left open on the perimeter on the other end.
Yeah. Yeah, Roberson is not still in the league, right? He is not. He says this year, he meant last year. That's not true. Yeah. I was like, there is no way.
He played middle ground mat. Well, that's the
Aristotle's
okay. He sucks here. And or he's great. One of the two you can pick.
Yeah. I'm mad about the Jeremiah Grant one. You're wrong, sadly. There we go. That's what I like to hear. You gotta be wrong. You gotta get mad. You know who's overrated? Scotty Barnes. I watched him in the All-Star game brick 5 easy layups from 3 feet away.
Thought he was good.
I have to tell you, I was at the basketball court shooting the other day, and I was
like 5 easy layups.
I was like 4 for 5 from there. So I don't know how you can call Scotty Barnes a good player when he literally at the All-Star game was bricking layups. Same with Cole Anthony, literally bricking threes left and right. Yeah. Scotty Barnes is horrible player. That skills challenge for Barnes, it was hilarious. I've never seen anything like that. We can get a stay hot game of 21. I got to work on my shooting form. But if we have time, I would play like a game of horse. Maybe not a game of like full on 21. I would play a game of horse. Maybe I'd play 21. I wouldn't show anybody my basketball though. I'd get made fun of. But if it was just shooting,
Do you understand how good you have to be to like
to
not have
not
your
get.
basketball made fun of?
Oh yeah, you've got to like.
I've seen some like freshman in high school with like who's like not that bad, but like his shooting form isn't like Klay Thompson. So people are like, yeah, that's all messed up.
That's all. Yeah, no,
Like,
I'm
yeah.
not. I'm not showing you guys me playing basketball. I have my video of me dunking on that hoop that is on the Stay Hot channel. I will be 100% honest. I have never measured that hoop. It is outdoors. It is
And
at a
it's 10
park.
foot.
It is. It is. It looks like 10 feet on my measuring app on my phone. So, and yeah. So we'll see what that one is, but that's all you guys are seeing from me ever playing basketball is me dunking on that hoop. Is it 10 feet? I don't know. We're going to say yes, it is. It's pretty close.
I'm working on benching 225 right now rather than dunking. I'm taking a different athletic.
I'm not really working out much at all. I ran 2 miles in I ran a mile in like 8 minutes the other day on the treadmill. So
you're incredibly fast.
Yeah, I'm incredibly fast, guys. But yeah, I definitely play like MGK. I probably do. I do have that Chet Holmgren build. So I'm not showing you guys me actually playing basketball, but like a game of horse, if we find ourselves at a basketball, if we find ourselves a basketball hoop, I would be down to play some like horse or play some untelevised 21.
You understand like how good there's only so many things I can do in the day. You know, it's like if I watch all the games and I make content about all the games and I lead a normal human life, I cannot possibly be good and also be good enough at basketball.
Right. I'm a well-rounded dude. I'll tell you any bird you want to know. Right. I have acting chops. All right. I've been in plays. I've been doing shows. I can sing a little bit. I can play piano. I know how to look at birds and know what they are. I watch a lot of football. I listen to a lot of music. I go on walks. I fish. I like to fish, but basketball, it's just not one of those skills that I honed. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody out there. You're right,
not
Matt.
Being a hooper. I like playing basketball.
So do I.
But I don't like. I'm kind of a bigger guy. I like play a little bit as like a center or whatever, and I just do that type of stuff. And I'll take some like mid-range shots. But I don't like. I'm not gonna go out and like practice my handles. I have such bad.
That is my downfall. Is handles.
That is my downfall. Too,
I cannot
I didn't start playing basketball till I was like 12.
I just cannot
11 or whatever.
Move quickly with the ball in my hands, and it's embarrassing. And it's like the fundamental part of playing basketball. Like, I'm not necessarily good at a lot of basketball things, but like I'm tall enough to be effective on defense. I like I'm not just a total liability like as a shooter. Like I'm definitely bad at it, but like I can usually hit the rim, you know. But
who was the guy 50 or 55 for Purdue? Do you know who I'm talking about? Were you watching the St. Pete game?
I was watching the St. Pete game.
That's how I try to be. I like the way he works in the post. He had some nice buckets. I was like, yeah, he's just like me.
Right. He's just like me. The Kendrick Perkins dribbling video. Honestly, my dribbling is probably worse than that bad. But
Williams, yes, Williams.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No. Just post up. Yeah. That's the thing. The thing is, I'm 6'4". Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah.
Exactly
I'm not trying to dribble. I do not want to put the ball on the ground too many times. I will get it stolen. So I don't try to be something I'm not.
We got to make some fishing content though.
We do got to make some. Look, I love fishing.
I've won a fishing competition before. I love fishing. Yes.
We got the rod. Let's see. I got my rod right here. We got this. I bought this. I live in Arizona, so I never fish. But I do have this, and I have not fished in a while. But I am like a good fisher man. I do it a decent amount of time. I've caught sharks. I know how to fly fish. I've gone salmon fishing. I do a lot of fishing. So fishing rocks. Sadly, we should do the Stay Hot Bass tournament on let's go to Wapaka, Wisconsin at my cabin. We can
I
do
went
some.
to a fishing camp a couple of times when I was in middle school, I think, and they were good times. So we should. I
We
don't know
should.
if there's any good fishing holes in Vegas, which is where we're going.
There's definitely not. It's definitely the middle of the
No,
desert.
probably not.
I could bring the fishing pole though. I don't know how much downtime we'll have. Probably not that much.
I think that'd be pretty hard to bring on the. That'd be a lot of work to bring on the plane, dude.
I don't know if it would. It would stick out of my.
It would stick, dude.
Because it breaks down.
I figure, but still,
it would still be tough. It would
because
you
have to put it under your seat, so it's like
the
rod.
It would be pointing up. You couldn't put the tray down, and you'd have to deal with it between your legs. But yeah. What's the biggest? Any fishers in this chat? What's the biggest fish you ever caught?
Someone said Bladen is a fraud fisher. I can tell you, Bladen, basketball wise, you know the stereotype of football guys who play basketball.
No, I guess I don't. Is it
you don't know that where it's like really, really, really tough defense, but has trouble like shooting and like making open layups? That's Bladen. He is really good on defense though, but he's had some funny takes. I'm not all that much
7-pound bass. Jesus,
more offensively inclined than he is, but he fits that.
He's Andre Roberson.
yeah, that's not a bad comp.
Yes. Let's see. I just joined. Well, right now we're talking about fishing, so yeah, a live bait merchant.
Who do you think?
No, I'm not. I got to beat these allegations. I'm not a live bait merchant. I think
bait merchant.
The thing I've caught probably the most fish on is rubber bait and jigs. That's probably what I mostly have caught things on.
Mostly rubber bait.
Yeah, rubber bait and jigs. Especially, I was really prolific a couple years ago in Florida. I was out in a kayak in the Sarasota Bay just by myself, and I was there for a couple weeks. I've never fished as hard as I fished in Florida a couple years ago, and I was using almost exclusively rubber bait. I used some shrimp, but they were dead, so it wasn't necessarily live bait with a bobber. I was jigging shrimp and rubber bait, and I was crushing it. I got pompano. I got a bunch of I think hardhead catfish. Caught some bonnethead sharks. I was going crazy. 20-pound bass. That's not true.
These comps are funny too because like Bladen is 6'1" with really long arms, and by pickup basketball standards, like he kind of is he translates to the same size as those wing defenders who are really good. Really good on defense. So it's really not a bad comp.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we getting Bladen on NBA Wednesday?
He's in
probably
class.
Not.
He's in
class, and he also doesn't know that much about basketball. So I don't know. Maybe he'll make an appearance.
I try to get him to watch sometimes. He watches the game sometimes.
Death Grips is perfect fishing music.
Yeah, Bladen, I think he'll start watching at some point.
Yes. Yeah, Bladen is shorter than me and Matt, sadly. Not by much, though. Bladen would spend the hour bringing up the Cavs, probably.
Yeah. And anytime we talk about the NBA, Bladen brings up the Cavs, De'Aaron Fox, and then, well,
yeah.
What's to say, I guess.
De'Aaron Fox hour. Do we have anything else to say about basketball in general, the NBA world? What are the best games tonight to watch, do you think? I haven't looked at the schedule.
I haven't looked at the games either. I think there's some.
Yesterday was the big NBA day.
Let's look.
We got T-Wolves Raptors. That's not so bad. Heat Celtics. That's probably the big one that I'll probably watch.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch Heat Celtics.
Hornets have a game, so I'll be watching.
Suns Warriors, that's a big one. I should know that as a Suns fan that we were playing the damn Warriors tonight. So Celtics and Suns Warriors will be nice.
I'll be 100%. I never know when the Hornets are playing until that day. I don't have any.
I don't either. I never know.
Because I have to,
I'll see on Twitter. Yeah, no, I'll see on Twitter. It's like Suns tip off happening now. We're playing the Nuggets. It's like, oh, that's nice. I will watch Devin Booker.
I watch for the injury report.
Yes. Who are we? Let's see.
Any baseball takes? I have been playing a lot of Wii baseball recently.
Like what kind of like Wii Sports
Wii
or like
baseball? It's awesome. It's made me respect the baseball sport a little bit more. It's I have a new level of understanding for what goes into pitching, the sort of the mental chess match going on between the who's pitching and who's hitting. So
Curryless word. Yeah, I think my baseball take is I don't really have that many. I would say that I respect baseball as a sport. I respect every sport as a sport. Baseball, I can get down with. I'm gonna try to go to the Diamondbacks opening series against the Padres at some point here. So I don't know. Take what you want from that.
I think baseball's biggest problems are not sport wise, it's the league. There's too many games, and I think it's maybe not. It doesn't help with that. It's maybe not super modern
Yeah.
of a league, I guess. And then the salary cap is not good. So like, or the lack of salary cap hurts them. Those are the two big things. It's like every game is kind of low stakes, and the
Low
teams get
stakes,
really
and there's a lot of
bounced.
downtime. There is a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
And it's like in an era where, and I'm guilty of this too, whenever there's downtime, you check your phone. And if the game is not this huge game, you're not really into it. So it's tough for people who aren't into baseball to be into baseball. But look, I'm telling you, freshman year at ASU, being a sports journalism major, all the sports journalism majors were on one floor or two floors at the top of the building Taylor Place. All of us were there. And it was an awesome sports watching experience because you had fans of everyone there all the time. It like anyone who loves talking sports would legitimate like ASU freshman year, all the sports journalism majors in one place. There was literally a lounge that was 24/7, just a 24/7 sports argument. It was always like people were always there. The TV was always on. Someone was always watching something. And it like got me into like a lot of different sports, just being around people who are passionate. And there's a lot of huge baseball fans. Like I have met like some of the like baseball might have a bigger like fan base here at ASU and in the sports journalism majors than maybe any other sport. I'm not kidding. Like people love baseball here.
Dude, it kills me. My roommates do not watch a ton of sports, so
Yeah.
I've it's always it's always more. It's a different experience to watch
Yeah.
sports like in a big group.
So yeah, no, watching the playoffs, I remember watching what was it, Yankees versus Astros, and there's a bunch of Yankees fans there, a lot of people from New York. And who was it? Someone hit a walk-off home run to like send them home, and I think it was the shot, the very famous shot of Chapman, like just kind of staring and half smiling. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I was there, and it was all based like just 25, 30 baseball people all in this lounge, just going absolutely crazy over that Astros Yankees series. And I'm like, okay, I can get down to some baseball here. And that's Altuve. Yes, Altuve. That's exactly what it was. So I'm all good with any sport in that Altuve. Yes, that's right.
I have
That's
also
exactly
golf. I have a growing appreciation for golf because of we golf as well. I'm telling you, and I know it sounds so stupid, but me and my friend have been playing like the 18-hole golf option, which takes like 45 minutes to get through on Wii Sports. And then it's like I understand a little bit more of like how like I didn't know how pars worked really,
right.
where it was like if it's a par 4, it's giving you 2 shots to get on the green and then 2 shots to get it in from there. And that's sort of the expectation. So stuff
Yeah.
like that it gives me a little bit more understanding. We've been watching some golf and it's been good.
Yeah. I went to the Phoenix Open, and that was kind of hype, honestly, because especially the Phoenix Open, I guess, is wasted management in one of the rowdier golf tournaments, I guess, if you know golf. I don't know anything about it because I'm not a big golf guy, but like we were there was a hole in one, and everybody started throwing shit onto the course and like just going fucking nuts. Like everybody was just like just throwing whatever they had in their hands. They were just like throwing it like onto the course all over everywhere. And like I was like, okay, that was like literally like the 5th golf shot I've ever watched in my life, and it was a hole in one. And I was like, okay, I don't need to see any more golf anymore. And then we snuck into the VIP section, and there was unlimited food and drinks, and we drank and we ate and we pretended, and we just like booed whenever there was a bad shot and cheered whenever there was a good shot. And I'm like, I am having a great time right now. I just like, oh my God, you almost got it this year. Boo. It's crazy. So hole 16 at the I don't know about the rest of golf, but hole 16 at the Phoenix Open is crazy. But yeah, crime NFL. It's not a crime. It is a little bit of a crime. My biggest crime is vandalization. I think that's the only crime, and shoplifting. But maybe my lawyers who aren't going to be happy with me saying that. But
no.
Chat, what was your most heinous crime? And then we can wrap up.
Hockey has the opposite problem. I feel like you have to pay attention 24/7. That's not a bad thing. Football and basketball are our perfect middle ground. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yes, betting outside of state lines. Oh yes, I did do that. I did wire money to people in other states for them to gamble. Have I ever done coke? No, I have not done coke. At ASU, it's not the most rare thing in the world, though. I'll say that. But I have never done cocaine. I love talking NBA. I love talking ball.
A little NBA talk.
Talking NBA. I once punched some ASU stone over a Daniel Jones take. Look, being on the floor 12 of Taylor Place, it's similar. That's kind of the vibe. It's kind of the vibe. I remember being on that Daniel Jones's first ever start was against the Buccaneers, and he played really well. And of course, it was Sunday, so all of us are out there. And like I said, there's a big New York demographic, so all the Giants fans were just going crazy, and they hit that game-winning field goal against the Buccaneers, and that was Daniel Jones' first start ever. And I will always remember Daniel Jones in that moment, watching all the Giants fans freak out over him and saying that he's like the next Tom Brady or whatever. Someone said Carson Strong was QB1 and I kicked him in the shins. Yes. Kellerman came up with Danny Dimes. I didn't even know that.
Really?
I thought, yeah, good for him.
Dang.
Have we talked about the Bucks? We talked about Giannis.
He's good. They're good.
Yeah, we talked about Giannis. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the Bucks are the Bucks. They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
Who wins in a fight versus you guys? I could never bring myself to fight my fellow
co-hosts. Yes. Who wins in a fight? The devil. If we're all fighting, it means temptation has won us over, and the devil wins if we all fight.
Honestly,
all right.
A fun sport to get into is boxing. Boxing's definitely cool.
Where would I rank Kawhi Leonard? Right now, we're all time. I don't know. It's tough both. Devin Booker just passed him all time in points. So Devin Booker is clearly better all time. Do you have anything more to say? Do you have anything?
I can't say that I do.
All right. Okay.
This is the natural conclusion of the NBA Live. Appreciate y'all coming out. We'll be doing this next
week.
At the same time.
Yep.